everybody. My name's Charlie. Thank you very much to the PlaceTech team for hosting today. I think you'll agree this is a fantastic venue. This is my first trip to the Nordics and to Stockholm, so I'm interested to meet everyone here today. And as I say, what I've been asked to talk about very quickly in 10 minutes is to try and cover all the industry trends that are affecting us as a company at VTS and what we've seen over the 7 years as a business, and then to jump in and talk about our company and VTS. So I'm going to talk very quickly and rattle through quite a few slides. Bit of background on myself. So for my sins, I used to work at JLL. Spent a little over 10 years in the industry, living and breathing some of the challenges and pain points that we are now trying to solve. And I think it puts me in quite a unique perspective, having spent 3 years in a software company, 10 years in the industry, to really start to talk about and articulate some of the trends that we're seeing, feeling, and experiencing. So I'm just going to start with the macro and the high level. So it is no surprise that our everyday has changed, right? Transportation, that's changed forever. Relationships. Now, I missed out on this craze. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but 50% of all relationships last year started online, which is kind of a crazy stat, right? It's in the palm of your hand, it's mobile. And then the way we travel in luxury is changing. I could go on and on and on. Our everyday experiences have become mobile, they've become real time, and they are in the palm of your hand. It's arguably the most powerful computer that we all own. We carry it around with us in our pocket, and it has impacted us in our day-to-day. But what about commercial real estate? So why is there this idea that I get out of bed in the morning, I run my whole life on my phone, I'm running about, jumping into several different apps, managing all the things I want to do in a more efficient way than perhaps 10, 15, 20 years ago. As soon as I walk through the front door of my office, bring out the Excel spreadsheets, get out the daybook, get out the pen and paper, I don't quite understand why it has taken so long for the industry to sort of wake up and realize, well, actually, the people, the staff, the millennials, whatever you want to call the people that are working in our industry today, they want something a little bit different. This is just an interesting stat, and I like this slide. It's a slide we've used for a few years now, but it kind of, and you can see back in 2015 was the last time we updated it, but this is a trend that happened outside of our industry, and I think it's always important that we do look at other industries to try and get some insight into what might happen in our industry. But the iPhone was released in 2007, and the CEO at the time, Steve Ballmer, very famously went on telly and laughed at this idea of a telephone that didn't have a keypad, that this Apple, the Microsoft company, could come in and compete with the telecoms of this world. And he said, how will businesses ever adopt this phone? There's no keypad on it. It's absolute nonsense. The price point is too high. This is a really smart guy. Multi-billionaire, owns sports teams. He's a widely successful person. But he absolutely underestimated the power that mobile technology and that the iPhone would have on our everyday. And you've seen Apple slowly grow over time. Now, Microsoft's not done too badly themselves, but their market share got eroded within a 12, 24-month period. That sort of change is absolutely going to hit our industry, and it's happening in real time. So I've tried to summarize the sort of 5 irreversible trends that I think have certainly impacted our industry and we're seeing every day today. So the first one I don't think is any surprise. It's been around for a while. This influx of institutional capital coming from the top of the food chain. So there is more and more money coming into real estate every single day, and it's coming from a very diverse investor base. They are used to trading and working in a more transparent, more real-time world. And as that capital comes into real estate, so do the pressures and the changes from the top start to impact what we do every single day. I've circled these 3 in a nice little purple box because these are the sort of industry changes. So right now, in all 3 sectors that VTS works in, office, retail, and industrial, we're seeing office sector pressure, co-working, space as a service, experience. It is all having a profound impact on the way that we build our buildings, occupy, run, and manage our buildings. Retail uncertainty. What is the retail landscape with the CVAs, with the changing consumer? How is retail going to flex and adopt? And then the industrial boom. They've got a new customer base. It's the new darling at the minute. It's seeing a phenomenal increase in rents and the last mile logistics. I'm not going to spend too much time talking on these 3. You are the experts in the industry. You know these changes. But the two I'm going to focus on is the top and the bottom-up pressure. Venture capital funding into commercial real estate tech has exploded. So we founded VTS in 2012. We couldn't get a meeting with a venture capital firm to even lend us $1 in 2012. Industry will never change. It's full of laggards. It's paper-based. Why do you even want to go and try and tackle, a solution in that industry? Well, as ex-real estate guys, we knew there was opportunity there. Fast forward 7 years, very short period of time, $12.5 billion last year went into the commercial real estate technology space. So you've got this top-down pressure, investors changing their attitude and appetite towards transparency, real-time data, reporting, etc. And you've got this bottoms-up enablement of technology companies coming in to really influence that change. And then in the middle, you have this perfect storm of the industry and a little bit of unrest every way you look. This slide was a slide we put in our very, very first deck at VTS. So you can see today is actually 2012. So this is a story we told our initial investors. It's a story we've kind of lived by. And it's really interesting that, we saw this influx in capital and we talked about a $7 trillion business and how it's changed over time and what that brings to the industry. Cushman & Wakefield released literally the other day, I think 1.8 trillion went into the industry last year alone. So I haven't got the last 5, 6, 7 years in here, but it just continues to go up and up and up. The industry is very different today than it was 10 years ago. Combine that with the bottoms-up approach. This is taken from our partners at Fifth Wall. If you haven't heard of Fifth Wall, Google them now. Try and get a meeting with Brad if you can. They've just opened up their second fund. They are a dedicated venture capital firm that's investing only in technology. Again, ex-industry guys as well. They say that in 2018, you saw a little over 12 billion. I think this was produced just before the end of the year. That is now over $12 billion went into the industry. That venture capital from 2012 all the way up to today has just been dramatic. And that is fueling a lot of the change and the ability for all the companies you see today to stand up here and talk about their growth. So how does it impact you? So what I want to just touch on is some of the forces of change in commercial real estate today. If you are about to evaluate a software, if you're about to evaluate a tool, if you're thinking, how does our tech ecosystem work and everything else, walk away today with these kind of 4 mantras in your mind. Question number 1, is it cloud-based? That's not a scary concept. All your technologies should and need to be cloud-based. It allows for the integrations, it allows for the APIs, it allows for the flexibility, it allows for the mobility. It also allows for instant upgrades. You don't think twice when your iPhone pings you today and says, hey, upgrade this software, we've got a new release for you. That is all possible because of the cloud-based technology. Don't go down the route of on-premise servers and I don't know even how they get upgraded. I'm sure someone comes and plugs them in. But cloud-based, it's instant, it's mobile, and it's constantly evolving. That is exciting for the end user. Big data analytics and insight. Now, I can talk all day about big data, but data is fundamentally going to change the real estate industry. I'm sure you're all aware of that. How you get hold of it, what you do with it, how it's aggregated, and how you give it back to the end user, the guys and girls on the ground doing deals for you every day in the market. That is actually where the big data comes in and is important. Consumerization. The technology today has to be easy to use. When you pick up your iPhone, you don't need a tutorial to go and use LinkedIn or Facebook or anything like that. You shouldn't need heavy training or high engagement from the software provider to use their technology every single day. It should be intuitive and second nature. And finally, and arguably the most important for our industry, our product is out there. We can't do our jobs if we're not out in the market, networking, talking to people, visiting our buildings, touring, etc. We need to be unshackled from our desks, and mobility is probably one of the most important things, I think, when it comes to technology adoption and what we're seeing today. I'm going to make 3 predictions for you. They're not groundbreaking, they're pretty straightforward, but prediction number 1 is that structured data will become mission critical to your business. I'll talk to folks about what that means after this, but if you're not focused on your data and you're not building the basic building blocks for getting your data in good shape, you can't do any of the exciting things that you're probably going to hear and talk about today. Second prediction is that analytics will start to move from backward looking, oh, that deal did 3 months ago, 6 months ago, the rent here, the comp here, to forward looking. And that's a really exciting concept for the commercial real estate industry, starting to look ahead and seeing where trends and data are going to take us rather than backwards. And then my final prediction is your organization's skill set will need to change. We talk about disruption and computers replacing people and everything else. It's all a little bit of nonsense. What will happen, though, is that the people working in your companies today and in your organizations might need to learn some new skills, might need to tool up. You might even be bringing people from outside the industry in. It's a big trend we're seeing in the UK right now, and I'm sure it's happening here as well. But that is a really important thing to think about as you're hiring and as you're starting to develop your teams. This is an old slide again, but it's something I've used a while ago. So Goldman's had to react to the fintech evolution. They have 9,000 engineers. 9,000 people in Goldman's right now, or probably more than that now, are sat there coding, developing, and effectively solving for their technology needs. Twitter and Facebook, again, old slides, so I'm sure they're bigger much now. This was their employees count a few years ago. Total employees. These are two of the largest tech companies that we all know about compared to the amount of tech people that Goldman's have set behind the scenes. That is a changing trend that you'll start to see in commercial real estate. Maybe not 9,000, but you get the point. Right, on to VTS. We are incredibly fortunate to have some of the largest names and partners working alongside VTS every single day, from Jonathan Gray to the Landsecks, Crown Estates of this world. We have over 700 companies that partner and work with VTS. A lot of the names and logos on this board you will, of course, be aware of. They will be in your markets. We are blessed, as I say, to be working alongside and developing our product every single day in partnership with these clients. From the bottoms up, the brokerage community at VTS, they are really the driving force behind our software adoption at the sort of the leasing, the vacancy end. The rent review surveyors, the leasing teams, and again, I'm sure there's a lot of you sat here who are part of these companies. Come and have a chat with me afterwards about how your firms and these companies up here are working with VTS in the US, UK, and across continental Europe. So how do you summarize what we're trying to do? So our mission is fundamentally to centralize the commercial real estate industry onto one standard platform. That in itself is going to create a huge amount of power as people can start to now communicate in standard forms. We want to bring the supply side of the industry, combine it with the demand side of the industry, and ultimately, sorry, the little boxes have moved around, allow people to transact online. So how are we doing this? So as a business, a little over 9 billion square feet at the close of last year is now being managed on VTS every single day. That's 700 plus landlords. We're adding about 280 million square feet every single month. So the growth is continuing to go in that direction. And we opened the office in London in January 2016. Within 3 years, we now have 1 in every 3 square feet in London on the platform. We've got nearly 1 billion square feet in continental Europe. We're in 35 countries. The growth is very exciting, but as I say, it is our clients that are pulling us into new markets, into new locations, and growing us organically. It's a big statement, but we anticipate we're going to double the amount of adoption and square feet on VTS. VTS platform is our live product today. I'll talk you through very quickly what that is, but Market View and Marketplace are our 2 big product initiatives that you'll have heard, if you know anything about the company, in the press that we've launched recently. What does our product vision look like? Very, very simply, when we started the company 7 years ago, we had this idea of a 3-phase approach. We had no idea how long it would take, but the number one focus was to build our operating system and to build that standard marketplace for our customers to start to engage and operate and collaborate in real time on one platform. That's been going quite well. And the market trends that I talked about earlier have accelerated phase 2 and phase 3 into one single approach. So by the end of this year, you will see Market View and Marketplace launched. I don't have time to talk through the details of what they are, but I'm here today and would love to kind of answer any of those questions. But fundamentally, this is being driven by our clients, it's being driven by the industry, and the acceleration is a need for people to be able to transact, collaborate, and understand information in real time. Phase 1, Build the modern operating system for owners, inventory management, deal pipeline, approval task, workflow, tenant relationship management, business intelligence. It's the things that an asset manager requires and uses every single day. Remove Excel spreadsheets, remove siloed information, connect up all their data from their ERP, property management systems, to Argus and all the other places where information sits, and give them a tool to run their day-to-day business. Step 2, now start to flood them with information from the market. Real-time, anonymized, aggregated data, like IPD, but on crack, for commercial real estate, and starting to put benchmark data in their hands so they can use more real-time information to make better data-led decisions. And finally, phase 3, which will be coming towards the end of this year, about 80% of all deals on VTS, of which there are hundreds of millions created every single year, are sub 10,000 square feet. So how can we help landlords start to compete in a world that is rapidly changing, where the WeWorks of this world, etc., are coming in and doing more faster, simpler, more straightforward deals? We can give landlords the ability to transact, compete, and find and search in one environment, and you'll see Marketplace evolve over the next 12 months. Really simply, for anyone who doesn't know VTS, platform exists today, Market View, Marketplace are coming, VTS, kind of product vision in one slide. That's our platform. From an asset management perspective, that is what we allow people to do today, taking leads and tenants on the left, helping them effectively communicate, transact, and speed up the lease and renewal process on the right, all overlaid with business intelligence so you can analyze data points that you maybe could never access before. How long is it taking me to do deals? Who are the best asset managers within our firm? What tenants are renewing? What are the rates, etc.? And this is what our product will look like tomorrow. Marketplace on the left, driving even more information to our clients, and Market View benchmarked over everything, allowing you to compare your own data with anonymized and aggregated industry trends. Final slide from me. If you want to know more about VTS, little plug, but we hold a conference every single year. This year it's in New York, May 6th to 7th. It's called Accelerate. We have 400 of the world's leading industries there, mainly focused on the landlord side. But if you want to get involved or you fancy a trip to New York over the UK May Bank holiday, log on to accelerate.vts.com, check out all the panels and speakers from last year, and we'd be delighted to host you and see our friends from the Nordics come and add their input to what we see as a sort of global changing landscape. That's it.